In this video, you're going to learn the 3 ways that I attract the best candidates to consistently apply to my jobs. And if you're running a recruitment business, you're a recruiter, or you're thinking about starting a recruitment business, this is probably one of the biggest things that can change your entire business. This can take you from making 30, 40, 50,000 pounds a year or dollars a year, all the way up to that 100, 150, 200,000 pound mark. Because in a market like this, in a business like this, where there's so many recruiters and so many people have access to the same CVs, the thing that's really going to help you stand out from the crowd and the thing that's going to differentiate you in front of your clients is by having different candidates and making sure that they're very, very relevant for the jobs that you're recruiting for. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. And if you are in any one of those situations where you're running a recruitment business, you're a recruiter, or you're thinking about running a recruitment business, or maybe, this is the first time you've ever heard about recruitment and, it sounds like something that you want to get started with, then make sure that you click the subscribe button below. I upload videos 3 times a week to help you make more money as a recruiter. So what are the 3 ways that I employ to get better candidates to apply to my jobs? So number 1, the first thing that I'm going to tell you to do is to write down a salary. So when you're actually writing your job advert, you're putting it out there, or maybe you're writing an ad that you're going to email out to some of your candidates, what you want to do is you want to put the salary in the title, you want to put the salary in the actual job description itself, the actual advert itself. And again, a lot of you might think, well, that's quite obvious, right? But if you actually go online and look at the jobs that are being advertised, very few actually put the salary there. Most of them say competitive. Most of them say dependent on experience. Nobody wants to see that. People want to know, how much do you value this job? What's the range that you have budgeted for this position? And, we want to see what is actually capable. So the reason why companies don't do this and why agencies don't do this is because they don't want to miss out on candidates, right? They don't want to underprice themselves, they don't want to overprice themselves, they don't want to say 80k when people would happily take the job at 60k, and then they're having to pay over that. But actually the reality of the situation is that if you don't put salary down, then no one's going to apply, right? Or very few people are going to apply, because there's so many jobs out there. People are so tired in their 9-to-5 jobs, in their day-to-day, even if they're not commuting, even if they're working from home, people are just tired nowadays. So and attention spans are very, very low. So the moment they see a job and it just says, and usually these are at the top as well, right? Well, say salary competitive or salary dependent on experience. That's right at the top of the job as well. Like, there's not much of an incentive for a person to even continue reading at this point, what the job is about. Because to be honest, there's other jobs that they could apply for, other companies. People don't need to be tied in and locked down to the area that they live in nowadays. So write down a salary. That's the first thing I would say to you. Put down a salary. If you put down a salary, what you're actually going to do is you're going to attract the right type of people to apply for your job. So if you put down, say, the salary is 45k on this position, and somebody applies and they're currently on 35k and they would take 40k, but now they've seen 45. Like, don't worry about those things, right? For now, right? Don't worry about those things for now. So the first thing is to put a salary down, right? Just put down what the salary is that the client has told you. Usually they'll give you a range. So they'll say to you, between 30 and 35, or between 35 and 40, between 40, 45, etc., etc. Maybe they say on the higher end, between 80 and 100, right? Or between 60 and 80, depending on experience. And if your client says that to you, depending on experience, and you need to really drill down and understand what that's about, right? And you need to ask some questions to your clients as well about, well, look, what if I got somebody who was perfect, but they didn't have certain experiences, but they were on 90 at the moment, and would you take that, etc. So you just need to play around with it when the client's talking about it. But when you're actually advertising this job online, you want to put the salary down. That's number 1, right? So number 2 is put a broad range. So the first one is put the salary down, whatever the client said, right? So you can do that. That's one way you can do that. Now, the second one is almost like an expansion on that point, and almost an expansion on the salary itself is really what I'm saying. So if they're telling you that they're looking for someone at 40 to 45k, why not put 40 to 50k? All right, just put down 40 to 50k. Depending on skills and experience. Like, when you're putting down a range and then saying depending on skills and experience, that's okay, because that's the caveat to say, not everyone's going to get 50K for this job. Like, we can pay up to 50K. Not everyone's going to get that. And on the other side, it signals we're not going to go over 50K, right? So if anybody's on 50K or above, you want to come to this job, great. But 50K is the top end of our budget. Now, what you want to do is you want to do one of two things, right? So the first thing that you can do is to do, and it depends on your resources and how much money you have to play with, and how many adverts you have in your quota, etc. So it really depends on that. But let's say, for example, your client tells you that we're looking for someone at 30 to 35K, right? Or 35 to 40, let's say. 35 to 40K is our budget for this position, what we're expecting to pay. So very easily, if somebody comes under budget, no problem, right? If somebody's on 30K and they've got all the experience, then I'm sure that they'll take that on, right? Not a problem. But what if somebody is already on 40K and they are perfect for this position? They live, close by, they're working close by currently, but they live close by to this company as well. They've got the exact skills that this company would be looking for. But this person's on 40K right now, and actually they want a bit of a bump. They want to go up to 45K, right? So again, from the client side, you would have to have got that little push up, right? To see if that margin is there or not. But what that person wouldn't do is apply for your job if you advertise it at 35 to 40, right? So if you advertise it at 35 to 40, then that wouldn't attract that person to apply, right? Really. Or they might apply, but they might say, looking for 45, etc., whatever. But a lot of people wouldn't apply because they think that, we want to be on the next position up. So I'm not going to apply for this job because I want to be on the next position up. But the client might actually have the budget for that, right? So what you want to do is you want to expand on the budget, the salary that you've got written down, right? So if it is a 35 to 40K salary that the client's told you, put down 35 to 45 or 35 to 50, right? Depending on your resources. Now, why do I say depending on your resources? Because the other way you could go about it is to do multiple ads for the same job. So you could do, for example, one ad where it's a mechanical design engineer or a Java developer or a electronics engineer or whatever it might be at 35 to 40K. And then what you want to do is you want to do another ad for the same thing at 40 to 45. And then you might want to do another one where it's a senior at 40 to 45 and maybe 40 to 50. And what you're trying to do here is you're just trying to get a range of people with the right skill sets. Because what's going to happen is people are going to apply for your job that have the right skills technically, but they might have probably a little bit more experience than what your client has said to you. Now, why do you want this? You want this because firstly, you want to attract more candidates. You want to attract better candidates. You want to attract candidates with higher salaries. The higher the salaries that they have, the more that you'll get paid as well. So that makes sense. But then also, because they have the right skill sets, there's nothing to say that you can't send the CV to your client. There's nothing to say that, just because the guy's, asking for 50, that the client won't see a space for him in the team or somewhere in the company. So it's really important to get those candidates come through that have, the right skills for the company. Maybe they've got too much experience for the role is asking, but maybe the company would want somebody like this. So because he's got the right skills, right, and he's local, and etc. etc. So you want to get those through, and then when you're sending your CVs of people in kind of the right category, because you want to make sure that you are serving the client according to what he said as best as you can, around those numbers. But you want to send a broad range of candidates as well, so that you're giving your client options to say, wow, this looks good. This guy looks good. And, it's very possible that they'll say, we can stretch this up. We can stretch this up another 10K for the right person. They didn't tell you that, and maybe you didn't ask, but, they can. So that's why it's important to put these options in front of your clients so that they can kind of just have a think, maybe just open their mind a little bit, make them have a different vision, think a bit more creatively about who they could have in, etc., etc. So that's what you're going to do. So that's the second thing that you want to do, is you want to make sure that you send a broad range. But then also the third thing is, I've already mentioned that, is you want to advertise at different seniorities as well. So like I said, you can do the same role at different salary ranges, but then also do the more senior position, and you're advertising that at different salary ranges as well. And then that's attracting that broad range of skill sets, broad range of experiences, and you can send all those to your clients, package it up nicely so that your clients understanding of why you're sending people that are slightly over the budget, but that just gives them the ability to say no, but they'll have a think about it. But the best case scenario is they could say yes, they could hire that person, and your fee is much higher, and you've got a more senior person in that company now that knows you, relates to you, will work with you in the future, etc. So those are the three things that I would say. So just to recap on that, the first thing I would say is include salary. The second thing I would say is either advertise a broader salary range or advertise multiple adverts on the same job with different salaries. Or the third thing would be to advertise the same job at different seniorities, right? So you've got that broad range, you can send that over, you're attracting different types of people, and you're really covering this job off to make sure that you're getting the right people. And the best thing about adverts is the fact that it's kind of working for you. It's like a soldier selling for you when you're just doing the rest of your work. It's there, it's out there while people are looking online. So if you do that, I'm pretty sure that you're going to start seeing some really good candidates come through that you probably wouldn't have even looked at if you were just going about things in the normal way. If you do that and you get some success, then obviously let me know. I'd love to, one thing I definitely love is I love hearing that people have taken my advice, they've implemented it, and it's helped them and it's worked. And that's why I do these videos, to help people out. So if this has helped, then make sure that you subscribe. Like I said, I upload 3 times a week, and shorts every single day. And it's just training content to help you. If you do want to take your recruitment business to the next level, if you want me to help you start getting those 6 figures every single year, those really juicy 10, 20, 30, 45, 50k kind of months that you have, then I do have a coaching program that will help you with that. We've got some students now that are making like 20k a month, 30k a month on a very consistent basis, and these are people that are working full-time jobs as well. So the system works as a proven system. For me, it's foolproof. There's no one that can follow the system, take the steps I'm saying, and not make money from it. It's almost virtually impossible. So if you want to join that program, it's a 6 weeks online program where you get an online course as well as 6 weeks worth of coaching with me, and in that time you're going to end that course as a master recruiter. Most likely you will have interviews on the board, if not have done your first deal by then as well. So anything is possible. To get a part of that, best thing to do, I would say, is join the Tribe of Recruiters Facebook group. The link is in the description below, and just drop me a DM, join that group. I'll see you when you join, and just tell me that you want to have a chat about the coaching program, and we can have that chat.